into the chaos.
So here's my first top 10 video. Well, I guess it'd be the second top 10 video now. But anyways, for this top 10 video, I'm going to be counting down the hardest Sonic Adventure 2 missions. I'm going to be ranking each mission based on how hard they were to complete the first time playing through, and how hard it is to get an A rank mission. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so this is my top 10 hardest Sonic Adventure 2 missions. So for number 10, I put Chow Racing against the Dark Chow and Hero Chows. And also Super Mode and Chow Karate. Now what makes these challenges so hard is the fact that you have to put a lot of time into raising your child to be able to even stand a chance against these missions. As far as I'm concerned, the only way to actually beat these missions is to have your stats around like 2,000, basically maximum. And even then, it's still going to be a hard challenge. You still have to hope that luck is on your side, especially when it comes to Chow Karate. What makes Chow Karate slightly more harder than the Chow Racing is the fact that dodging comes into play, and it's very random whether your Chow dodges a lot. I know one of the stats helps out, but it's still random for the most part if your Chow will or will not dodge an attack, and that could be vital in making you win the match. Now the only reason why these missions are at number 10 is because they're not the conventional kind of missions. You don't have an option of getting an A rank on them. And you also don't play them yourself. The Chows do that. I mean, you can influence the Chow slightly, but they do the racing and the fighting on their own. So I thought it'd be a little unfair to put it any higher on the list. Alright, for number 9, I'm putting Find the Lost Chow for all of Sonic and Shadows missions and Tails and Eggman's missions. Now, on the first playthrough, these are very difficult, especially if you don't know how to get the Lost Chow in the first place. You need a specific power-up to even be able to get the chance to get the Chow. Except for in some stages you might find a shortcut to get to the area of the Chow, but for the most part you need the Mystic Melody. So once you have the Mystic Melody, you have to find these little statues to use it, and then some kind of object will appear that will allow you to get to the area the Chow is in. What's hard about this, at least during a first playthrough, is the location of said statue. 90% of the time, it's completely out of the way of the path you normally take. So you have to think outside the box to find where it could possibly be at. But once you do, finding the Chow from now on out is easy, and getting A rank will also be easy. Ignore that, B. But yeah, A ranks will also be easier, especially since it's only based on time. The reason why the treasure hunting, find the lost chows on this list is because Knuckles and Rouge's stages are designed for exploration, so you can easily go back to each location, while Sonic, Shadow, Eggman, and Tails might have to restart the stage or tag the goal ring. But for number 8, we have hard mode for Knuckles and Rouge. Basically all the hard modes for their stages. Now, just like the Find the Lost Chow missions, you have to have a specific power-up to complete basically any of these hard modes. The reason for that is because certain emerald pieces are put in specific locations that cannot be accessed without said power. This power-up being the treasure scope for Rouge and the sunglasses for Knuckles. Aside from the needed upgrade, the emeralds are also tossed in locations that you normally wouldn't find going through the stage. Is it not back here?
It's closer. One more left.
But also, like Find the Lost Child, once you know where these locations are, they don't actually change. So you can easily get an A rank following a second playthrough. Therefore, it's only number 8 on the list. Number 7. Eternal Engine, collect 100 rings. Oh man, now we're getting into the actual hard stuff. You see, collecting 100 rings is normally an easy task for Sonic and Shadow. But when you put Eggman and Tails, more specifically Tails, into one of these missions, it becomes extremely difficult. The reason for this is because, well, they have less rings usually than Sonic and Shadow. Basically, in every stage they have less rings than Sonic and Shadow, unless I'm mistaken. Not only that, but they are less mobile than Shadow and Sonic, and seem to have a lot more enemies shooting at them. generally speaking, Eternal Engine takes about 3 minutes to complete the 100 ring challenge. So you have to go that entire amount of time without getting hit or falling off. And in Eternal Engine, it's especially difficult because while you're shooting at enemies, you also have to make sure you don't shoot the grenades in the background or bombs or whatever the heck these things are, because you could end up hitting yourself and losing all your rings. But if you aren't shooting enough, there will be too many enemies attacking you at once and you will basically guaranteed get hit. The most difficult part of this challenge is this narrow path right here where you have very, very minimum space to grab rings. This is typically where the challenge ends if you had collected every ring prior to this part. And there are just so many enemies that come in from the edges of the stage that you won't see coming, and they will basically almost always strike you and force you to restart from the very beginning again, which is so frustrating because you are so close once you get to that point that when you get hit, you just never want to play the freaking mission again. I can't tell you how many times I've played this and just quit because I got hit on that narrow path. Number 6, another 100 ring mission from Tails in Hidden Base this time. Now you're probably thinking that the later stage should be the harder one to complete. But from my experience, Eternal Engine actually seems to be easier to complete than Hidden Base. Eternal Engine has one specific part that really gets to you, but Hidden Base has basically the whole stage, at least to me. The problem with this stage is that the enemies that pop up usually pop up right next to you, while in Eternal Engine they come from a long distance away. Yes, it's a more narrow path, but the fact that you have even less time to react to said pop-ups, it makes it slightly harder. I mean, it's debatable which one is... I mean, if you personally think Eternal Engine is more difficult, then that's cool too. You could probably switch them up on this list. They're both Tails' missions, and almost all of his ring challenges are hard. So it doesn't really matter which one you put here. It's just from my experience, this one's more difficult. Number 5, Mad Space Mission 1. And the 4th mission, which is the timed one. Now, what's difficult about Mad Space is the largeness of the stage. I mean, thanks to the rockets, it's not that hard to get to each place, but the fact that everything's still spread out means that if you don't go the right location, you're gonna lose points. Upon a first playthrough of this, the hints will confuse you a lot. The first one looks like gibberish, and if you follow the second one, you'll be confused that the emerald is not what it said it was. And the third one, you might actually catch on to. once you get a little familiar with these hints, you'll realize that the first one is read backwards. Watchman of the Yellow Balcony. And the second one tells you the exact opposite of what's supposed to tell you. So say a low place is actually a high place. And then the third one, like I said, is easier to catch on. It's literally just telling you exactly what it's literally telling you exactly what's at, just saying not in front of the actual wards. You also have gravity on a couple planets, which makes it slightly more difficult to move around and kind of makes it confusing on how to move. But the main thing that makes this more difficult is the nature of Knuckles and Rouge's stages, having the emeralds end up in a random place each time. Now, completing the stage the first time, when you don't know the layout of the stage, will just take you a long time. But once you figure out the layout, the thing that's stopping you is the A rank, because you will have to masterfully navigate through each section of the stage and know exactly where the emeralds are at. This is true for all the Rouge and Knuckles stages, but the fact that this one is larger makes it more difficult to figure out. You're probably wondering why Meteor Herd isn't in this same spot too, and that's simply because Meteor Herd is slightly more easier to navigate without as much tricky factors into the stage. Meteor Herd's hints do not have a gimmick to them, and there's no planets with additional gravity to throw you off. And the fourth mission, the time mission, it's about the same difficulty, because while there is a time limit, meaning you have to navigate the stage faster, you will also know the layout more by this time. Okay, so for number 4, I'm going to have Death Chamber, the first mission, and the fourth mission. Just like Rouge's Mad Space. Now on a first playthrough, this stage is going to be much more confusing than Mad Space because, well, you're indoors and it's a labyrinth. It's going to be hard to find your way around. With Rouge, you can basically see the whole stage at certain points. Although you're still going to have to figure out where to go and how to get there quickly. Knuckles, you're going to have to actually explore to find every part of the stage where the key pieces can possibly be at. And since it's randomized every single time, it's gonna be extra hard to get an A. So basically on your first playthrough, you're probably gonna be sitting here for a good 10 minutes. And on repeated playthroughs, you're still probably gonna be sitting here for 10 minutes. Only when you fully learn the layout of the stage will you be able to get through this stage in a effortless manner. This is probably the only stage between the two treasure hunters where the radar will go off, but the key piece won't actually be nearby. This is because the rooms are adjacent to each other. So Knuckles might sense it in a completely different room that he's not even in. Another thing about this stage that isn't like Knuckles' other stages, all the hints. Now they aren't flipped backwards or telling lies like Rouge's hints in Mad Space, but the hints do seem to be more vague than any other stage Knuckles has. This makes the stage still take a long time if you ask for help. Unless, again, like I said before, if you know your way around the stage. And time is exactly the same thing as I said with Mad Space. You know the stage layout more, but you're under a time limit, meaning you gotta go faster. And that will force you... And unless you know the stage layout perfectly, you're gonna end up dying a few times due to time running out. Number 3, I have Final Rush Hog Mode and Final Chase Hog Mode. Now these are the final stages of the game, aside from Canyon's core. So, you know that when you initiate a hard mode with these, that it's gonna be extra difficult. Now, it may not be as time-consuming as Death Chamber, but there's also no random luck in it that might help you win easier. These stages basically take all skill to complete. For Final Rush, you're on rails for a good part of the stage, and in hard mode, they like to place enemies on the rails, meaning if you get hit, you're most likely going to die instantly. Final Rush is a stage that takes around 4 minutes to complete on average. So to get A, you're going to have to go through this long stage without falling off by mistake. Final Rush seems to be a little more vacant of platform than Final Chases, but Final Chase has these weird gravity poles that you have to run up and across throughout basically the entire stage. At least half of the stage is made up of these gravity poles. And they have meteors and enemies placed along them, and sometimes Shadow just kinda decides not to run on them. Number 2 hardest, another wing mission from Tails, this time on Mission Street. Now it seems like we're going backwards on these wing missions, right? First one was Eternal Engine, next hardest was Hidden Base, and now this is the hardest ring mission for Tails. Ah man, the first stage of Tails doing the ring mission. What is wrong with this stage? What is hard about this stage when it comes to the ring mission? Well, let me tell you. I'm almost absolutely certain there's only 97 rings in this stage. Therefore, you have to go through 3 minutes and tag the ring before you can complete the stage. But you have to do it all without getting hit. And like I stated previously, Tails doesn't maneuver as fast as Sonic or Shadow. Sure, he's not completely immobile, but he's fairly limited to how he can move. And to make things worse, he has more enemies shooting at him than Sonic or Shadow does, as I've already said before. So you gotta go through the stage without getting hit, without falling off. There are multiple enemies shooting at you. There are random explosions at some point. And the entire stage takes no less than 3 minutes. And you have to grab basically every single ring on your way there. I mean, sure, you could only grab about 50 rings and then risk going through half the stage again for another 3 minutes. But why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put that risk on yourself of losing such a frustrating mission? This is the mission that I have the least amount of fun with, because if you get hit, you just don't want to do it anymore. Like I said for Eternal Engine and Hidden Base, it just makes you lose motivation. Like, I'm at the end of the stage now, and I have 19 rings. Where did the other rings go? I mean, I know I just got hit, but like, where'd the other rings go? The restarting the stage is definitely the most depressing part to me. Like, it just made you feel like you didn't do good enough. And now you're back to the start. And you still have to deal with the same robots. Although you know that they're coming, it's still not going to be easy to avoid them. But there still is one mission that's harder than this one, in my opinion. And for the #1 hardest mission in Sonic Adventure 2, don't hit the walls. On Tails and Rouge's missions, the 4th mission for the kart racing. Oh man, what do I have to say about this? I mean, it's just the hardest mission. Why, you might ask? Well, as you can see here, you have to drive on this road and not hit any of the walls, or you lose and have to start all the way from the beginning. I feel this is slightly more harder than collecting the rings, because while collecting the rings you can take your time. With this, you basically have to drive full speed the entire time. I mean, sure, you can slow down at a curve or two, but from my experience, if you slow down around every curve just to make sure you don't hit the wall, you're not going to get that A rank. On a first playthrough, this probably isn't that difficult. To get to the end, because you're probably going to take your time. But when you try to speed up, at least for me, you just hit those walls. It's like Rouge and Tails are magnets to these walls. And at certain points, the walls get so narrow that if you're not driving completely straight, you're gonna hit them. Like, how did that even count? I'm not joking when I say I gave more attempts in this mission than any of the other missions, probably combined even the ring mission for Tails. To be fair though, that's probably because as soon as I get hit once with the Tails missions, I instantly quit. But, my point still stands. There's probably some people out there who are experts at this driving minigame and can easily do this, but for me, I always end up hitting the wall at least a couple dozen times when I attempt this mission. I'm actually astonished I ever completed the mission, with an A rank no less. What the? Oh, where'd that turn come from? Oh my gosh, there's no way I was getting out of that. Oh my gosh. That was a dumb idea. No, come on, there's nothing I can do. Wait, is B stop? Come on, I was braking! Yo, man. See, I only got 6 seconds left. No! I didn't even hit the wall, look at me! Oh my gosh. How come I can't get... See, I'm not even getting past the first part. I haven't got past the first lap yet. How does that keep sneaking up on me? I know it's there. What the heck? Whoa! I know it's you, Wall. You're not gonna get the better of me this time. Yeah, I finally made it. Look at that. First flight completed. Don't hit the window. Don't hit this one. Alright, here we go. Whoa! How does that count? How did I fall? Oh my gosh! Whoa! Oh my goodness! Oh my god, why did you go extra fast? I was even faster than the normal boost. Last life, last try. I gotta win this time. Nothing's gonna stop me. I got this. Oh! How does it? No! Gosh darn it. See? I can't. This mission so hard. Alright, let's just see if I can do it for the video right now with 2 lives to spare. I'm actually gonna try. Oh, whoa.